Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30 this Wednesday, September 3rd. Time to wrap it up for today. And so much for that strength. We're back here at the lower end of the session range. So far, support's holding at 64.25. But if you try to buy this area, you'll be twisting him in the wind for a while. We'll see. I mean, so I haven't taken it lower. They haven't done anything with it at all. So it's one of those days, it's been traded back up here to the 64.60s, back to the mean, meandering around the mean for a while, then a nice little bit of weakness down here to lower support, and then that's about it. So far, I'm going to be looking for this one to trade back up towards the middle also. I'm not expecting a big sell-off into the close. It just feels like the market is just going sideways. Volume-wise, we had like at 800,000 on the micro. On the ES, we had like 1,000,001. So volume is not totally crazy or totally offbeat. So it's enough volume, but we'll see. Last half hour, you never know what's going to happen. So there's always something surprising. But I would be surprised if we get a major sell-off into the close. I would probably expect more like lingering back up here towards value, towards the mean. But I haven't traded it. I mean, looking at it, say this is just slow, a recipe for getting stuck twisting in a way, and that sucks. So haven't done anything yet on this guy at all today. I would start off the overnight though as a range bound market. I mean, at this point, unless they start taking out the 6 to 25s into the close, if they start blowing through that on the downside, maybe start with a slight bias to the downside. But if they hold support, we're going to start off range bound, and let's see how it develops in the overnight. The news for tomorrow, we have plenty of stuff going on tomorrow morning. At 8:15, we get an ADP report. At 8:30, we get international trade. We get jobless claims. We get productivity. And at 9:45, we get PMI composite. 10 o'clock, we get ISM services. And then NatGas report at 10:30. So a ton of stuff. Oil report at noon. So we got a ton of stuff going on tomorrow in terms of news. At 8:30, 9:45, and 10, we're going to be busy day tomorrow. And of course, then we have the employment situation coming out on Friday. But that's how we get started. Looks to me like we get a little bit of strength there. So I would, as I said, I'm just expecting them to pretty much run it up to the mean here and basically go sideways. So starting off range bound, only caveat if for some reason they close below the 64.25, we start to the buy to the downside. If for some magic reason they blow through the 64.60s, we'll start off with a buy to the upside. But at this point, I'm going to start off flat out range bound. I'm going to sell strength by weakness. And in other words, buying against that 25s, selling against the 60s at this point. Looking at our NASDAQ and the bond market, nice move to the upside. Took one bond trade today early on, and I was a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too early on that one. Either way, it wouldn't have been a big trade. I was expecting them to actually ran a little bit lower, but it turned out they ran up to that. The mode here stalled right there for a bit, and it stalled enough to get me excited. I kind of forgot how slow this thing moves, so I got in a little bit too aggressively. If I had been a little bit less aggressive on that thing, I probably would have saved myself some bucks. But I only trade with the 4 tick stops, like down 125 on the bonds. You don't need to trade with more. If you're missing the edge with more than 4 ticks, you're wrong, and you should be out of that trade. Now you got in a couple of ticks later, would have been better, or on that retest. The retest that took it out with 1 tick, but that would have been a better entry at that point. That would have given you a few ticks of profit. But as I said, you had to be a little bit less aggressive on the bonds than I was today. On the Nasdaq, but I will start off with a slight bias to the upside on the bonds, right, to get started. There was a nice move to the upside, so looking for potential moves higher. So looking to buy against that 14.12 and the 14.06s for rotations back up again. Below 14.06, look for that retracement trade back down to 114 instead. On the Nasdaq, very much a similar stuff as ES. I mean, fold this guy back together. So on the Nasdaq, we got some early strength. A nice move to the upside. They were all the way up here. Looked to me like they had a pretty good day going there, and then they kind of ran out of gas at the London close and started retracing down here, testing session lows. 310s had not been able to take out the 310s, and now we are lingering kind of back up again. So same story there. Starting off range bound, looking to buy weakness, sell strength, buy weakness down to the 310s, selling strength out to the 450s, rotations back down. I would say if they take out the 450s, I would start on the long side. If they take out the 310 before they close, I would start with a slight bias to the downside. But it looks to me like they're finally getting a little bit of mojo back here towards the mean. That's what it looks like right now. Um, Looking at our oil and gold, and oil has been all over the places today. It's been, if you can watch this, there's been overnight pulled back a bit. And then we're looking at the a bit of strength here, start trading up a bit with a couple of big moves up and then a complete reversal back down again. And we're right back here to that lower end, to that value area. So I would start off range bound, maybe keep a bite to the downside on oil. But you can see here, if I scroll back, how crazy that was. We had a couple of those big moves, like one, a big pop and then a big sell off and a big pop to the upside. And then, like I said, yes, cross currents. Okay, that's called, that's cross currents. Haven't tried to trade oil at all. And oh, and gold, look at that thing. I mean, they were trading, they were grinding higher here, grinding higher all the way up here to K period and 2 o'clock hour. If you're going to get a change in direction, run that 1:30 to 2:30 hour. That's usually when it happens. At this point, it was like at 2 o'clock. They ran up here, 2 o'clock, and then look at that sell-off. They ran it hard to the downside, pretty much reversed the whole day, all the way down to the 36.15s. So that's gold for you. And you're on the wrong side of that move, trying to buy, you've been buying the pullbacks here, you try to buy that one, and you find yourself just getting crushed. So that's why I kind of stay out of gold unless I find a really good opportunity. But if you took a shot at it and you were wrong, yes, the only way to protect yourself is to keep a tight stop. And if you're wrong, know when you're wrong and get out of the trade. And instead of trying to be cute about it, gold will punish you pretty harsh. So anyway, so if it goes to close it below the 36.15s, I would start off with a slight bias to the downside. Otherwise, I would stay on the long side of this, see how far they can take it. See when they're going to run out of gas on the downside here. But right now, if the 36.15s reverse retest holds, probably stay on the long side. If they take it out, I would look for further retracement in the overnight. Right, that's the way I would look at gold. It is volatile. It's a speaking thing has been running pretty hard to the upside. So I would not be surprised if we get a pretty good pullback on gold. That's a pure technical pullback. So, but that's it on gold. No trades on that one. So far, just one bond trade and one in Nasdaq. One small winner on the Nasdaq, one loser on the bonds, and that's about it for me today. Alrighty, back to the ES, and okay, so it looks like we're holding on to the gains going into the close. So. Let's see how this whole thing develops going into the overnight. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there, and I'll see you back in the morning. You guys have a good evening. All right, guys, later.